Hey Shaq, how you doing?
Bowie, Big J.
Oh man, week two's finished. How you feeling about everything?
I'm feeling all right. Scored 24.50.
Yeah,
2K,
you
2.8K rank. How
you
about
happy
yourself?
with you happy with your positioning? Like you what expecting more, or you happy with how you're going so far?
Reasonably pleased at the moment with my
Mhm.
side. Traded a bit more than anyone else, but
Yeah.
I just feel I had to burn them. So we'll see what happens.
Well, that's it. Sometimes it just happens that way. You've got some premiums that you're just not happy with. I know myself. What did I score? 1 second. I scored 2,467. So actually sitting around top 4,000, which is good. Jumped up 16,000 spots this week. You'll see it in the team review after this. But yeah, definitely kind of cruising along, looking to jump up the rankings quite a bit. I spent 2 trades last week. Did you spend 3 or just the 2 trades?
Yeah, I've spent 6 so far.
Okay.
Well, I think I'm gonna spend 6. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Was that kind of you weren't really happy with your side, or you identified a few players that you have to get in that you kind of missed?
Mm, I missed a few players, but I also identified what we call them fake primos.
Okay,
So
definitely.
there's a few fake primos in my team, and
Mhm.
I don't want to hold them. So
Yeah, definitely. I know the pain of holding some guys that, you want 150s from them or 130s and they're scoring like 70s and 80s. That happened to me last year, and it's just, well, once that's happened once, you just like get rid of them as quick as you can, especially now before they've actually started dropping in price too, which is a big thing, right?
yep.
Yeah. So what we'll just start off today, obviously it's the watch list, so we're going to check out some players. So how about we just have a look at kind of our reactions of the scoring last week, so round 2, and which teams won, and we'll kind of judge it on that. All right, Shaq. So let's check out the first game of the week. So we've got Bulldogs versus Carlton. So who was your pick for this game?
Carlton, easy.
Carlton. Yeah. Why kind of was that? I know that Bulldogs are having a bit of trouble at the moment, but I'd love to get your thoughts on the game.
I just like Carlton this year. I've liked them for a long time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think Carlton's a good team.
Okay.
Probably top 4.
Yeah, they're going to push that hard this year, you reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I know the Dogs are having a bit of trouble at the moment. Their midfield's good, but their forward line's a bit shit. Sorry for Dogs owners without Bruce, especially Good Friday this year. He won't be kicking 15. But yeah, he's a real struggle for them. I know there's a bit of selection issues at the moment. Bontempelli's had to play a lot more forward than I think the team likes, and even English. They're playing one ruck, but having all these other players who really can't play that tall forward position puts him in a bit of a worry, doesn't it, Shaq?
Yeah, English is a massive worry for me now because they actually need English to play forward.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they can kick enough goals. So, I mean, unless Norton goes berserk, but
he needs that backup, right? He can't just do it by himself.
Yeah, they badly need Bruce.
Yeah,
I don't know when he's out till. So, yeah, this Hayes R2 that's floating around,
which is
pay off for the owners.
Yeah. So just for those who don't know, you're talking about Hayes being R2 and then English being in the forward line, right? So having English as a forward and then having Hayes on field as that ruckman.
Now, I think the trade is like to get rid of Gorn, free up the cash.
Yep.
And I think most people have Grundy or Wits or whatever that combination they have.
Yeah.
And just going straight to Hayes as a R2.
Okay. And then having a lot of cash left in the bank to do stuff.
That's right.
Okay. Wow. Those people are ballsier than me, man. I couldn't do it. Ryder potentially coming back and Hayes having a bad game and getting dropped. It's a bit of a struggle. No,
Yeah,
no
but
thanks.
if he pays off for 3 weeks, we're in trouble because
Maybe. You know, they could still have stinkers. We'll just wait and see.
they had Meek as an option, but now Darcy's back. If he's back, you can't do that route.
No, not anymore. Though knowing Darcy's probably going to be back for half the game and get knocked again by Lob and then out for the rest of the game. So, yeah, just see what happens, I guess. So just talking about VC options, I kind of got suckered into picking Dunkley this week. Did you who did you have as your VC option?
My vice captain was Cripps this week.
Okay. So you're pretty happy with his 162?
Yeah, you're going to take a 160.
Yeah, definitely. I have McRae, but as I said, got suckered into Dunkley last minute. I won't be doing that again. But the guy that I did have as my captain, who we'll see later, I was very, very happy with that score. So no complaints from me. Would anyone surprise you in this game with how their scoring was? Just before we move on to the Sydney game?
Probably Treloar look back to what I think he could be.
Yep.
He's an option, but we have to add him to the watch list.
Yeah, definitely.
Later on.
Yep.
Another player that I think is underlooked by players is Curnow.
Okay. Yeah, big 113. It's a bit scary, hey?
With their run of fixtures, I know people are going up to Brody or Sherry or whatever they've missed.
Mm-hmm.
But Curnow could probably match him over the next 7 weeks. So that's the one to consider.
I guess for me, I can understand what you're saying. What was his scoring like, I guess, if he didn't have, if he only kicked 1 or 2 goals instead of 5? It is kind of the way I think a lot of people may be thinking. But he's definitely one that if you've got like a Durden on the bench that you spare 70K or whatever, you could potentially go up and have another cash cow mid-price making a lot of money. And, 80s and 90s scores, nothing to scoff at, right?
Yeah, because he can kick. He can kick a bag on any night. So
yeah, definitely.
You got to ride the good with the bad with him.
Mm.
But I think there's more good games than bad games. So it's a bit of a risk either way.
Yeah. I think Walsh, for me, that 90 is looking a bit juicy for him actually going to dropping some cash in the next few weeks. He's not going to give away 4 frees and have 9 clangers every week, as you can see from his scoring. But, it's not a 150 either. So
for me, though, it's the roll.
That. Yeah, definitely.
That's the issue with Walsh. So
definitely.
We'll see.
And the Dogs defenders weren't really having a good time either. I know they don't really have any tools at the moment. I think Keith's in. O'Brien hasn't been played yet. But if you look at Daniel and Dale, they're not scoring the 110s like they did last year, at least for this game, because they just got dominated by the Carlton tools, right?
Yeah, Dale's okay option. Like, he only got 117 last week, so 86. He's on about maybe 100 average. Yeah. He's not a bad option, but Daniel, your man Ed Richards, he got cooked this week. But
yeah, he did. He was gone. I'm glad he's not in my side. Someone else is going to be from another club, but yeah, he's.
There's a bit of a worry of like Libba had a lot of. I'm not sure about CBAs, but looking at contested possessions, and Dunkley was tagging. Like, people are forgetting that Dunkley tagged this game, so to Dunkley owners could be a bit worrying.
Yeah,
because I think he might go to Mills this week.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just wait and see, I guess. Maybe he doesn't score the 120s. Maybe he scores like a 95. We'll just wait and see. All right. So moving over to the Sydney Geelong game. Moving over to Sydney Geelong. So Callum Mills, Shaq, should we be worried about Callum Mills this year?
Yes.
Yeah? Why is that?
Because I've watched his first round. I think it was underscored.
Okay. Yeah. 147 is a bit scary.
He's not bad, but he had a really bad game round one. But he's one I'm really looking at. I really like Mills.
Okay.
Yeah. And with their run, could be a nice little upgrade.
Yeah, definitely right. Yeah. So Isaac Heaney, another 5 goals. Can't complain about that. I know 140, and what did you score last week? Like a 145 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people getting him in that this week at that juicy 454K price rise or price point. It's a bit scary.
Yeah, it is scary, but is he going to kick 100 goals this year the way he's going? I don't think so. So
yeah,
I think those scores will come down a bit.
Relatively soon. Scrolling down the list, what do you reckon about Stevens' 95 this week?
Might be the best rookie in the midfield.
Yeah,
it's looking like.
Definitely, it's looking that way. I mean, if he can get to something like 400K, which is crazy to think about, but pumping out 95s, they're in you're in a good position if you've got him.
Yeah, if you don't, that's like number 1 trade this week.
Yeah, definitely. Nick Blakey, anything to worry about with a score of 80, or do you think he's kind of just moulding back into the position?
Yeah, I watched that game closely. He was a bit unlucky because he was off the ground when they were kicking behinds. So that score could have been a 95 if he was on the ground. So I'm not too worried with that pick. What I picked him at 305 was 325. So
325K, I think
he had like 30% kickouts. Lloyd had majority, I think about 60%. So
okay.
Campbell had a few.
You reckon it was just a case of, hey, he's on the bench when they're scoring behind, so he couldn't take the kickouts kind of thing?
Yeah, but even if he was, I still think it would have been about a 60-40 split.
Okay.
So not too worried with that pick at the moment. I think he'll make enough cash.
Yeah. And Luke Parker, big 160 last week, and now he's stuck on a 73. So I wonder if it's a bit of a seesaw with his scoring. Mills goes big and then Parker goes average, or if there's something extra in there as well. I think some people had him, and 73 from a guy that's 560 or 580K is not great, right?
No, it's not great, but I think they're similar to the Melbourne.
Yeah, I think so.
One goes big, the other doesn't. So it is what it is. You just take
pretty much right.
This week.
Yeah. So just looking at big Tommy Stewart over in Geelong, I don't think many people have Brad Close, and no one's got. Is it Big Clavs? How do you say his name?
Mark Blickhoffs. I'm not sure.
Yeah. But you've got to be happy with Tom Stewart's 103, right?
Yeah, I was happy, but I don't know. He didn't look right this week for me.
Okay.
Not right, but I wanted him involved in more play.
Yeah.
And he could be about 105, so he's not going to beat Aaron Hall though.
No, maybe not. We'll see. Just looking at his time on ground as well. So 60% time on ground. I don't think he got injured, but maybe he got stuck behind a rotation somewhere. So he just didn't play as much. Yeah,
because his POG was 60%. So that's like really, really low for him. He's generally high 80s, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah. Well, you'd expect that from a defender. They're not going to spend a lot of time on the bench.
Yeah.
Mitch Duncan, 74, can't complain. Hopefully he ends up being very cheap and we can pick him up maybe as a bench or an F6 option if that's something that happens. And just moving down the list a little bit, I think Dangerfield, it's looking like he got tagged this week. What do you reckon?
Yeah, he copped the Mills tag.
Wow. So Mills went 147 and tagged someone. Yeah. What a superstar. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a goal.
Definitely worth having a look at bringing him into your side. At some point, at least. Not right now, but definitely at some point. Yeah. All right.
I think there's any other Jake Lloyd.
Jake Lloyd, yeah.
What did you think of Jake Lloyd? I wanted to ask you the question.
Looked all right. Looked to be back to his normal role again. Definitely that gatekeeper type of player. 20 kicks, only 7 handballs, which is kind of his style. I think he was just doing Jake Lloyd things, right?
What do you think he averages?
What do I think he averages? I don't think we're going to get the 115s that we've had before, purely because there's people like Blakey in the back line sharing his points a little bit, or at least sharing the job role that took his points.
Handball as well.
Yeah. But, I think a lot of people would be happy with the 102 average. I think super coaches were a bit hesitant on picking him this year. So I think doing that is probably the right way to go. Maybe you can grab him down later at like a 500K instead of being 580 or whatever he is now in a few weeks. Definitely an upgrade option, but a backline without Jake Lloyd by the end of the year isn't really a backline, No.
If Blakey gets injured, then we're all aboard on.
Everyone jumps on the train, right?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Had some technical difficulties there. But we're going to move on to Collingwood Adelaide now. So, Collingwood Adelaide. Round 1 burn man ends up being the highest scorer on the Collingwood team. What do you reckon, Shaq? Jack Crisp back to his gun self, or just kind of toying with people this week?
Yeah, he looked better. I'll give him that. But he was the quickest trade I've ever made.
Yeah, definitely for me too.
I didn't want to get stuck with him for like 6-7 rounds because then you had to put out other fires.
Yep. Yeah.
Look, he could be D6, but I'm not willing to take the gamble on him, whereas I know Hall will be D1.
Definitely. I think that's the same with me. In my heart, I'm hoping he drops another stinker so those that get, that kept him get punished. But looking at he's very seesaw for me. I think there's guys that he shares roles with. He'll do well 1 week. And as we saw with Lipinski, he didn't score a 130 again. So it's very up and down. The risk, at least this early into the season, I'm not willing to take. So he's a no for me. What do you think of Ginnivan, Shaq? Do you think he's worthwhile? I think he's about 200K forward.
He's going to make plenty of cash.
Okay. Not many people have him.
Better than okay, to be honest. What did he go? 100% BE or something? So
no, he was. So he 66% efficiency, 10 contested possessions. I know he was pretty dangerous. He did have 4 free kicks, for him. So that's some extra points there. But the kid just looks crazy. Looks like he's everywhere. I think most people have a Brody or a Cherry at a similar price instead of him. But, if you had that extra spot left over and could maneuver people around, I'd pay 20K more to turn Josh Ward into Ginnivan, right?
Yeah, I would. I don't like Ward. I actually think he's no good.
So that's definitely an option there for you. If you had the extra cash to trade him across and then, you're set even further. Moving down the list, so Howe, big 107, did all right?
Yeah, he's looking okay, Howe, but not for
until he gets injured, I guess. Scott Pendlebury, do you reckon that you might end up finish a bit of a prediction, mystic ball, crystal ball, that kind of thing? Do you reckon that by the end of the season, you might have Pendlebury in your defense? I assume he's going to get DPP the way that he's playing. Do you see him being in your defense at some point this year? No? Okay. Even if he's scoring like 105s, 110s?
Yeah, look, it depends what price he is. And, I've drafted him in draft, but there's knowing that he's going to be a defender. But I'm not sure. Like, I see Shaw, Hewitt, who's the other defender scoring well? Hall, Zabel, even.
Yep.
There's a lot of 110 guys around that mark. So
Yeah, a few other players kind of doing the same thing, right? So maybe you don't pick him up. His price, if he was about 450k instead of being 480, I could have been tempted to take him knowing that he was going to be a defender this year. Maybe at 400k, let's say, I would have been tempted to start him. Hey, round 6, moving back, you're set.
because he's taking kickouts as well, from what I saw. So
he looks good in the position. He looks really good.
For me to consider Pendlebury, he has to be a very reasonable price.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd have to be certain that he has the perfect role to be some sort of D5 to D9, probably, I'm guessing.
Okay. Yep.
Around that mark. So, yeah, he's a tricky pick. And it's going to depend on his price for me to pick him. But I won't be paying overs for him, surely.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. Moving down the list, Brodie Grundy, 101. I'm okay with it. Riley O'Brien scored a 110, so they're pretty even, I guess, in scoring. He looked okay, but I think this year is definitely not going to be the year of premium rucks scoring huge. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I actually talked about it after round 1 that I don't see any ruck averaging 120.
So those days have gone. Getting like a 180s is probably gone, right?
I think the game's just not that contested unless it rains or it's like a really close game or umpire's throwing his whistle he's just not paying any frees. But I just feel like the rucks they're too expensive for what they're giving out. So a lot of teams that had a bit more heavy midfield instead of
going 650k rucks.
Going 650k rucks are really benefiting right now. And if you don't shift, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, no, that's
6,
fair.
7, and 8.
That's definitely fair. Moving down the list, I guess a lot of people brought in Lipinski this week and didn't get, 86 is okay, but it's not the 100 plus that you expected. And then Dacos as well. So just looking at Dacos here, 63% efficiency, 6 clangers, got a couple of free kicks, but this is probably him on a bad day, right? You don't really need to worry about him, having too many stinkers, yeah?
Yeah, he kicked the ball really bad on the weekend. I don't think he's ever kicked the ball that bad, but
okay.
I think this is his lowest floor he could possibly go. So I'm not too fussed. He's going to make cash. But people saying he's the D6, I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, I think that kind of what you expect from a first-year rookie too. Maybe you put him as D6 early on or have him as a D6, DPP when you're looking to trade. But, D6 for the rest of the year, I can definitely agree with you. You'd rather even pick up Pendlebury, like we've said. Heading over to Adelaide. So I did a video this week talking about pods, and a couple of people actually mentioned Ben Keys as guys who potentially is someone that you want to pick up later on in the season. If he keeps pumping out similar numbers to these, would you put him in your side?
Look, he scored really well without Lloyd inside, so I'd have to watch him. I think Lloyd's coming back this week.
Yeah, he is definitely.
So we'll monitor Keys with Lloyd in the side, which would be which will give us a bit more knowledge or data on really his real scoring output. So, obviously benefited with no lead in the side. So that's something to just remember in next coming seasons, that if Laird's out, Keys is an option.
Yeah. Riley O'Brien, as we were saying, did all right, 110. You'd be happy with him at 500k. Sloan got injured there. So I think Keys actually went up a little bit in scoring when Sloan was off the field. And then Jordan Dawson. He's got to be the luckiest man ever. I remember seeing him, I think it was the end of the first quarter on 0 point Shaq, and he ends up on a 99.
I think he's done it 2 weeks in a row.
Is this guy
Kicked
the
a
freak
goal and
or
then he's
what's
gone
happening?
up to 100. So
yeah, it's a bit freaky, isn't it? Like the guy just can't stop scoring points.
he's due a bad score.
Yeah,
He'll get one.
I think I can definitely see him being in my D6 at some point, preferably keeping him for the whole year, because I think they're still playing around a little bit with his position on the field. I know last week he was put forward and then went to the midfield. I think this week something similar as well. Went back and then went back into the midfield. So we'll just see what happens position-wise.
I don't think he represents any value at that price, though.
Okay. What would he have to drop to, you reckon? Maybe like a sub 500K for you to pick him up?
Yeah, probably sub 500, but I won't be paying 550 for him. There's no way.
No, that's fair.
When I could have a Brayshaw or someone like that in my side.
And then Hinge as well. So Hinge has definitely saved me. I was a bit worried about him scoring 50 last week, but at 84 just skyrockets his cash gen.
Yeah, I had him. I was watching the Sydney game and I'm like, oh, Jesus, McCartan is intercepting every ball. And I got Hinge started. I was so upset.
Yep.
And then Hinge outscored him, which was
pretty good.
But we'll take it.
Yeah. Just moving down the list, I don't think anyone else is relevant apart from Josh Rochelle. So 6 clangers, 65% efficiency isn't great. I think this is probably his lowest scoring point. He's still got 20 touches and looked well, looked good, but this is probably his lowest scoring point. Similar to a Dacos, first-year rookies can definitely have a few fumbles. Hey, nothing to really worry about. There's not a lot of midfield rookies that are doing super well, or forward rookies that are doing, as well. So him scoring a 60 is kind of, you take it as you go, right? Yeah. Yep. Definitely. All right.
I think he will be prone to games like this, so that's just something you're going to have to cop on the chin.
Yeah, definitely. So just moving over to Essendon and Brisbane now. So Zach Merritt, he's probably the talking point outside of my captain of this week, Lockie Neal, who we'll get to talking to. Zach Merritt's probably the biggest talking point this week, right? Him being injured. Does that help guys like Nick Martin and Parrish score, or is that worse for them?
Yeah, I have Parrish, and people have trying to convince me that it's better, but I think it's worse. So.
Yeah. Do you think more people would, they would have tagged Merritt or focused on him? Now he's out of the side, so Parrish does well. So Parrish.
You just go to Parrish, and that's it. It's game over.
Definitely.
So yeah, I'm trading Parrish this week. I know some people will disagree on that move, but
you're going down to Brayshaw, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep. And another burn man from last week, Jordan Ridley. So he just looked lost on field in the game versus Brisbane. I was definitely there. I might post up a photo, maybe. Me and JD and Spills. Sorry, me and DR and Spills were at the game. I'll just put that up now. So Ridley just looked a bit lost. He's definitely looks like he's lost his job role. And I think a lot of his scoring in the game actually ended up being a bit of junk time. The 102, I don't know if it's representative of his actual score in the game, or how well he did. But he's so efficient with the ball that whenever he gets a kick, it just lands on the target. So even with lower possessions, it just works out for him, right?
Yeah, I'm really gonna watch into Ridley because I think Essendon's in a big trouble for a while now. They got a really tough run. They could get hammered next week by Melbourne. It wouldn't surprise me, and he's got to be a bit of a watch because the ball's going to be down there now. And for me, he's a hold if you have him. So
okay, that's fair. I know a few people.
Like if you have Whitfield or Ridley, I'd hold Ridley over Whitfield.
Get rid of Whitfield, you reckon? Yeah, no, fair enough. Another decent score from Caldwell. If you had him, you'd be pretty happy at 260K. He's going to make a bit of money. Him or Berry, you got to have him, right?
Yeah, Caldwell's got to be the luckiest pick in the history of Supercoach. Has to be. with the Zach Merritt injury. Yeah, he'll
definitely
average a 90 now and make him a
and
lot of cash.
I don't see him getting dropped either. So hopefully Martin comes back and plays a similar role again.
The only thing that could be a problem is Hobbs.
Okay. Do you think he's going to affect the score too much? Caldwell seems to have a bit of a different 14 contested possessions is just crazy.
Yeah, but the kid can only play inside mid, so where are they going to play him if he does play?
Maybe Zach Merritt going out just saves Hobbs, give him Zach Merritt's, time. Not sure. Wait and see for that side. I definitely agree with you. Maybe their defenders move up a bit more in scoring in the next few weeks. So just moving over to Brisbane, big Lockie Neal, 198. You should have seen us being so happy, man. We were cheering him on during the game. Lockie Neal, kick another goal, do crazy shit. That's what you kind of expect from Lockie Neal, right? Not all the time, but his ceiling is so huge. I think he was a bit lucky not to get the 200.
Yeah, I think just captain anyone against Essendon this year. You should be.
No, that's fair. Essendon's the new Gold Coast, you reckon, maybe? Everyone just scores big against them.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. No, fair enough. His third goal was disallowed and turned into a behind, and I was so sad. I wanted to hit the 200, Shaq. Give me that 200. It's not fair.
Yeah, you are unlucky, but all the Dunks owners got luck botted this week with
definitely
their captaincy. So
well, even the people who got McRae, they were happy with a 146 until Neil popped out a 198 and you couldn't swap. Daniel Rich, 124. I think last week he scored something like an 80.
73, I think.
Yeah, so the 124 is pretty good, right? He seemed really solid in his role again. Back to doing what he does, being that distributor off the back line.
Yeah, someone I'm going to target probably after around 9-10.
Okay. Well, when he drops a lot in price, because right now he's still pretty expensive.
Drops and has a harder run of fixtures. Right now they've got a bit of a soft run, so Rich will be someone I'll be looking at after around 9-10 as a possible D6, D5.
Yeah.
We talked about him last week as well. I like Rich as well. I like him. Now with Zorko playing half back, he's another one that we should talk about. But
I was just about to mention him too. If Zorko could get his dream team score instead of his Supercoach score, I think we'd be a bit more worried on of not having him. But
because he could get dual status, yeah.
Well, I think he's looking like he might. 35% for him isn't out of the question. That back line looks better with him in it, and he, as you can see from the scoring, he did quite well. So a lot of their points were chip kicks, back and forward along the back line. That's partly why Rich got so many possessions, and same with Zorko. But he's just impactful as well.
What's his price? Is he expensive?
Zorko is... Oh, so Zorko's $5.95. So for a midfielder, you don't pick him up. But as a defender, if he drops to, $520K, he might be worth it, right? Kind of see what he's like, see what the scoring's like that way.
Yeah, and also the kickouts, he took a fair few. Not majority. I think Rich took majority, but he took a few. So
yeah, I definitely noted that as well.
Someone to have a look at.
Yeah, moving down the list, I think Lyons potentially played a bit of forward. So wait and see what happens with DPP for him. And then Jared Berry's probably the next guy that potentially you're looking at. What's your thoughts on Berry at the moment? And is he still injured, you reckon?
Could be playing not at 100%, but he started tagging after half time and he started racking the pill. I actually reckon he will score better as a tagger than whatever he's playing, what role he's playing now in the team, wing or. Yeah, I don't mind Berry. I'm gonna hold Berry, so I have faith in him to pull off a few hundred scores. So. Just going to hold.
Yeah, fair enough. I would hold, but Berry's my ticket to getting Cripps this week. So
Yeah,
see you later, Berry. Turning to Cripps. Yeah, pretty much. Oscar McInerney, a 70, isn't great. Draper only scored a 98, so maybe he got beat by Draper a bit, but 500k, it's not what you want. And I think that's really it. Zach Bailey's definitely someone who I think is very polarizing. Some weeks he does well, and then he scores a 64. So I'm glad I didn't start him. Most would have had Butters. If you didn't, you're in trouble, because as we'll see from the next game, he went massive again. But yeah, I thought he would do a little bit more. His average would be a bit higher, especially against easier opponents. What do you reckon?
Never liked the Zach Bailey pick. So if you did start him, you get off him immediately. He's no good.
Sideways to Heaney, you reckon, at almost a cheaper price, I think. I think Bailey's more expensive than Heaney right now.
Oh, if you don't have Butters, I'd go Butters. But
okay.
Heaney's an option too, yeah.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Anyone else to look at from this game, or we should head over to Port Adelaide Hawthorn?
Yeah, Port Adelaide Hawthorn, I think. Okay. That's about it.
Cool. So Hawthorn, a team that was bottom 4 last year, has now won 3 and lost 0. Beating Port Adelaide by over 60 points is a bit crazy, right?
Yep.
Did you kind of see it happening, or is it a bit of a shock to you as well?
Look, I thought it would be a closer game than everyone thought. Everyone thought Port Adelaide would just go and smash them, but I thought it would be a close game, and they ended up losing. So Port's in big trouble right now. They got no key defender, no key forward.
Yeah.
They got a bunch of forwards that are trying to be midfielders. I think everyone's playing Supercoach in that team.
Yeah.
I don't know. They have to swing the axe at a few players and say, look, it's not good enough, Yeah. You're 0-2, and this week's a big game for them. If they lose to Adelaide, the season might be right off already.
Yeah.
I think Hinkley's gone if they lose this week.
You reckon? He's gone at the end of the year, or he's got some real pressure on him now to actually perform?
I think he's got a lot of pressure just around the club, the supporters. He's got a relatively good team, and they're 0-2. And if they go 0-3 and the run gets harder, I don't know.
No, fair enough.
I think he's contracted till 2024, I think. But I wouldn't be surprised if they pull the plug on him.
Yeah, it could be something similar to like a Brad Scott situation at North. Like, hey, you're doing terribly. We wanted more. I don't know if they do it now because, not Clarkson and other people aren't. I don't know how available they are to come in and jump in, but I think at the end of the year, there might be a big coaching shuffle as well. So we'll just wait and see what happens in that space. We'll start off with Port. So Boak 156, big, massive score for a guy.
Yeah, Travis Boak is a player that I would describe as trading him in and then averaging a 90 for the end.
Yeah, definitely. You chase the points, you bring him in next week, shits the bed. So, yeah, it's something to watch out for. 18 contested possessions, 11 clearances. You can't do that every week. Zach Butters, Shaq. If you didn't start Zach Butters, how bad would you be feeling right now?
No, it's close to delete your team, but
yeah,
we won't go that far.
No, not yet.
Yeah, just get him in if you don't have him.
Yeah, especially at this price rise, because he could easily be 600k in a couple of weeks. I think he had another 110 round 1 and now 136. So he's jumping up in price next week. Just moving down the list, I don't think anyone really had Lysette, so we've dodged one there. And then Dan Houston as well. So he had a big score last week and a lot of people jumped on him. Do you think that was the right move, or are you kind of wait and see with Dan Houston? Burn man from last year. He scores 100 and then scores 40. So
he's never again. He's on the never again list. So
same with me.
I don't really care what he scored, but I just know he's up and down. So
Yeah.
Not an option. I'm not even considering him this year. So if you guys are, then I hope he averages well for you. But he's not on the radar.
Again, yeah, no, I get that. He's juicy at that 460K price point. But yeah, got nightmares.
Yeah, but that price is no man's land. Is he going to be a top 6? I can't see it. So
yeah,
there's a lot of good defenders, and there's no way I'm picking Houston at 460.
I don't think anyone else is really relevant from Port. Sam Skinner scored a 45. So I know some people picked him up, maybe even in the forward line as a DPP option. I wouldn't have done that. I would have wait and see, but some people did. That's about it, right, from Port?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Something I've actually noticed from Hawthorn is they scored a 120, but they must have been really efficient with the ball because they've only got 2 people over 100. That's a bit crazy, right? Like the points got shed around that much. Port's players were that dominant that they only had 2 guys over 100. Normally there's, someone who scores at least a 110 plus.
It's just contrasting styles of play. I think Hawthorn play really fast and try run and gun sort of mentality of not just chipping the ball around and, I got a mark, I got an effective kick, Whereas Port play a bit of a slow grind tempo sort of game. Switch from side to side. So 2 contrasting different games. So I'll expect that from Hawthorn on a weekly basis, like scores up like that. I think Sam Mitchell's changed the whole game plan of how they play.
Yeah, definitely. He's made a big impact to that team. Obviously, you see by the 3-0 start, but just kind of how they're playing as well is very different than when Clarkson was in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a question for you. If you had brought Sicily in this week and he scored 84, would you be happy or not happy?
Yeah, I was. Look, some people brought him in thinking that he would average that, but
yeah,
I never liked the pick.
Last week.
Yeah, 110, I think he scored. Yeah. I don't think he's top 6, Jay.
Okay.
You?
No, he's someone that I'm afraid that if I haven't picked them, then I would be in trouble. But he's never someone that I actually wanted to bring into my team. No. Yeah,
I'm not keen on that pick.
Fair enough. Tom Mitchell scoring another sub 100 score. He's going to plummet in price. Do you think that Mitchell's using him like in a different role, or he's just playing shit the first few games? Is he someone that you think you will actually look to bring in if he drops down a lot in price?
Look, he could drop a lot, but the problem is I don't know if Hawthorn's game style, whether it suits him or not. So that's my main issue with Tom Mitchell. Even if he's 500K, but if he can't get at least a 130 or show any signs of scoring potential, then I think he's an avoid. So
I understand that. Maybe his style, like you're saying, of racking up the ball kind of doesn't work anymore because they want to move it so quickly. 57% efficiency isn't great, but neither is an 82. So yeah, I'm glad Mcdonald and Ward both scored over 50. So they're well, I mean, as opposed to what happened last week with Ward, right? But they're going to keep their spot in the side, I reckon. And maybe even if they're a slow burn, but they're going to be burning. So I'm happy with the price and the scoring there.
Yes, so happy McDonald's out averaging Ward for less 70K.
Well, so most people have both. So
yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Wingard out, I think, for a couple of weeks. So maybe that's good for our rookie midfielders, but that's probably about it with these teams. Hey, Hawthorn just dominated and Port wasn't great. So
even Mitchell's numbers, 28 possessions, is really down on previous years. So
yeah, definitely
something to monitor.
Definitely something to look at. Hopefully he does better, but you could be picking him up at sub 500K, maybe even just a bench cover option. But would you want him if he's only going to be scoring under 100? So see what happens. Heading into Gold Coast and Melbourne. So Big Took Miller. Shaq, how does it feel to be a Took Miller owner? And are you happy?
Yeah, very happy.
Yeah.
Doing what his role in the side is to do. Average the same amount of points as McRae.
Yep.
So, yeah, very happy with Took pick. I think
he's just a beast.
Top 10K have a high percentage of him. So,
yeah.
He
He's
does
one of those guys you have to have in, right?
So, yeah.
Yeah. Heading down the list on their side, Witt 75 probably wasn't his best score this week. But looking at the ruckman on the other side, it's pretty average, right?
Oh, well, he went against Jackson and Gordon. I wasn't expecting anything more than 80 from him. So,
yeah.
He done okay. So,
do we need to be worried about Rail 71 and his apparent tagging role this week? Well, round 2.
I don't think so. Like, it's Melbourne, right? They were expected to lose, and they were down in the fourth quarter. I think it was the third or fourth quarter they tried to tag him. I'm not sure.
I almost think it was half time. I think Raul was like 60 into half time and then ended up on the 71. So
yeah, I think Jude probably just tried to see how it works, but he needs to stop that and just let the guy play.
Yeah, definitely. He's not going to have 8 clangers every week, but I think Gold Coast had the mentality they were very close in the game where they wanted to do as much as they could to win. And Raul's not going to give away 5-3 kicks every week either, right?
Yeah, Gold Coast looked real good for a team that was meant to be the wooden spoon. I couldn't believe that when I saw that. But
yeah, I think and no King either. So, their big key forwards out as well. For them to be in the contest is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know some people jumped on Davies early. I think he's a bit of a bust now with that 66. I think last week he scored at 80 something. But that's probably about it for Gold Coast.
Still averaging 75 though, Jay.
That's true. That's true.
He's going at the same rate as Dacos, so I don't know.
Guess so. I guess that's something to look at. But you'd rather have Dacos than Davies, though.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. Heading over to Melbourne, and the guy that is probably going to be the highest brought-in player this week, Jake Bowie.
Yeah.
How good does Jake Bowie look?
Yeah, he was the second trade that took me 30 seconds to bring into the side. He was straight in. Salem's rolls are roughly about a 90 average from what I know, and he did get a lot of intercept marks. That could be the knock on him, but the disposal efficiencies looks really good.
Yeah,
they look for him, and if he can steal a few kickouts, he's going to be a really good pick to lock round 9. So yeah, I'm on Bowie. He was the first traded player I got brought in this week.
Yeah, he's my spoiler alert. He's my downgrade for Whitfield this week. So yeah, can't complain with that 151, even if it's only in his scoring for like 3 weeks. I think that's what it's basically going to be, 2 or 3 weeks. It's going to net him a lot of money. I think he's projected to jump 50K already. So you're going to be happy with him. If he gets to 400K, you're laughing, right?
If he drops another like 120, it's like 450 nearly.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's 200K. And if you've missed that,
good luck. Good luck.
It's gonna be ugly.
Do we need to be worried about Luke Jackson this year and not having him?
This is one pick I can't like. People are saying that it's a good pick, could be bad, but the thing with Gorn is the last time he's dropped 290s was 2017, and he averaged 90 for that year. So are we seeing a decline in Gorn, or are we seeing Luke Jackson actually being really good? So
yeah, I mean, it's only the first
really
couple of
hard
weeks,
to pick.
Definitely. Yeah.
Do you think he's a breakout player? He probably is, because there's teams from WA circuit are circling around trying to pick.
Well, I think they would have done that anyway, because you look at their ruckman. Sean Darcy's always injured. They don't have anyone mobile at Freo. And West Coast Nick Nat can play half a game, and that's about it. So I think in general they'd be looking at for him. I think Jackson was 2018 draft, if I remember. So he's like 3 or 4 years into the system. So it's that time for him to break out. And I've always said players on good teams break out earlier than players on bad teams, because they can just play their role and not have to try and carry or do something extra. I think if you don't have him, like I don't, and sounds like you don't either, that you're going to have to be a bit worried. Maybe you put him down as one of your first upgrades if he keeps scoring and you've got that extra sample size, because he looked good.
He's just so mobile.
And he took 50% ruck time that game. Maybe Gawn was injured or just holding something, or I think Gawn's a bit lazy these days, I have to say. But Jackson just looked good. And you like players that look good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, he's a player, but he's so awkwardly priced. Like,
yeah, 380K.
He has to be a keeper to bring him in, and I'm not sure he is. So,
but he'll still make money. I think he had did he score 100 last week? Do you remember?
So, not sure what he's.
So 100 and a 137, let's say, on a guy that costs 380. He's going to make you a bit of money, so don't have to worry about that. I know last week we talked about Oliver and Petrarca. They'll either have a good game or a bad game, or a game where they score, decently average. We saw that this week in the Melbourne game. So both not going huge, but you'd be happy with a 129 and a 120 from both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Petrarca looks like he's going to break the league this year, by the way. 240 disposal games.
And he did a 129 on a game where he only had a 52% efficiency. And similar with Oliver.
It was really wet, though. The game was really wet for a mid. It would have been very hard to have any DE over 60%, I think, anyway, from the game.
Unless you're a defender, like we'll see in the next two. Oliver's racking it up in the midfield. I guess both are, but 13 clearances is just bonkers.
I think just Trucker's looking. He wants that Brownlow this year. He looks so hungry. I love greediness in a player.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks like he just wants to dominate this year.
Yeah, and that's what we want, right? Like,
and at that 600K price, he's going to be very hard to get in later on.
Yep, but that's why we've got a lot of players who are going to jump hugely in price. You almost want a triple trade just to get Petrarca in 1 week, so you might be forced to. Just seeing how he goes the rest of the year. Moving down the list, I think Max Gawn is probably the last guy we're going to talk about from the Melbourne side. Maybe we talk about, there's Toby Bedford, so that, doesn't work. But Max Gawn, 88. You don't have him, do you, Shaq?
No, I traded him last week for England.
So that kind of worked out for you that way. But if you had Gawn, would you be holding? Would you be trading? What would you be doing with him?
Look, I understand both views of holding him and trading him, but I can't lose 200K on the premium. I'm sorry, but
I understand that.
And then be in a position where I'm probably half a primo down on everyone, and they get him at 400, and then he starts going 140, or Luke Jackson gets injured, or something happens and which makes his scoring go up. For me, I don't know what the right play is, but I feel like trading him is the right play.
Okay, that's fair. As an owner myself, he's not going to have 44% efficiency. He did drop the ball a lot that game. If his efficiency was higher, he'd be on like a 110, I feel. But Jackson in the side is a bit scary. If I had something like 5 trades this week, Gawn probably would be gone. But I don't, and I've got bigger issues on the field, so I'm holding myself. Whitfield, I think, we'll talk about him in a couple of games, but I think he's a bigger play to get rid of than Gawn, who potentially could turn things around. I think we're a bit worried about Gawn, and I think something to be worried about Gawn with is he's very team focused. He doesn't care if his scores are good as long as the team's winning and as long as other people are doing really well. So in Supercoach terms, that means that he might not be going as hard at the ball anymore if he can see Jackson doing so well, if he can see Petrarca and Oliver doing so well. So that might be something to look out for, because we want the player to do that. But the player himself, he's happy just to sit back. Melbourne's dominating everybody. They're scoring heaps of goals. You know, Gawn just kind of does Gawn things, running around the field, take some kick-outs or take some hit-outs. But it's not what we want as a ruckman who should be getting 100+ every week, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Move on to the next game, I think, Joe.
Yeah. So North Melbourne versus West Coast. The team that had half a team and the team that, you know, has half a bunch of players. So I'm glad North won. It's probably going to be one of their few wins of the year. As a North fan, it feels good. My trade in this week, Aaron Hall, did really well. And I think the big talking point from the North team has to be Tristan Cherry, right? Really seems to be taking that number one ruck spot. And if he can score similar to this, he could almost be a keeper. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I traded him last week. It was either him or Brayshaw, and I went Sherry. I got rid of Dixon to get Sherry in. You
got to be happy with that.
And once I saw he's playing against no one, it was just easy. I knew it was an easy 100, so I had to get him in, and I knew he was going to have a really low break even. Very happy with Sherry, but like next week it could be like back to 60. So
yeah, that's true.
Just take your 120 when you can with him.
I guess at you know, him being like a 220k player, that's who you kind of expect, though, right? Like, some good weeks, some bad weeks. I also brought in Aaron Hall, so him scoring a 123, pretty similar to Chris, but we've spoken off air about how much the ball is going to be North's backline for the next 8 weeks. So Hall getting a lot of that ball's pretty good, right?
Yeah, I just love Aaron Hall. He's so greedy. I love greedy players, and if you watch a North Melbourne game and you don't have Aaron Hall,
you're in trouble.
I know. We're watching with a few guys, and they're like, "Oh my god, this guy! Can you just stop getting the pill?" And I was like, "You can have your Chris, bro. I'll have my Hall every day of the week."
Pretty much, and he's not sharing the job role with anyone at the moment either, so it looks really, really good for him. Moving down the list. So do you have Horn Francis or do you not have Horn Francis? I'm not sure.
No, I don't have Horn Francis.
Are you worried with him scoring scores like 98 and not having him?
Well, my structures are very different to most teams. I think most are guns and rookies. I have a lot of the rookies.
Yep.
But I have a few like mid-priced options that I think will break out. So like it depends on your structure, Jay. Like I think I have the majority of the good rookies, probably not Horn Francis and Rochelle, but I just can't fit them. So
no, that's true. This year definitely seems like there's so many options that, you know, if you pick 7 out of the 8, you're not going to miss out too much. Luke Mcdonald scoring at 88. I know a lot of people jumped on him after his like 150 last week. I don't know if that's North changing up his position a little bit or what kind of happened, but you'd be okay with an 88 from a 350k player, right?
Yeah, I think he'll play midfield next week and tag Neil.
Okay. Is that your prediction? We can come back and revisit that next week.
So I think Luke McDonald will replace LDU in the mid.
Yep.
Probably be a tagger in there. So, because they said they're going to put attention on, so who else can tag? I don't think anyone else can.
I think Greenwood did a little bit of that at Gold Coast. So I know Greenwood had a couple of times where he kept Tom Mitchell to low-ish possessions. But you're right, North's midfield, they just lost 2 players who play, you know, predominantly through that position. And Lockie Neal could go huge. So
he could go, but Greenwood's a bit of a worry. So because he's held a few opponents before.
I'm expecting a Horn Francis like 130 next week. just plays pure mid, racks up 40 possessions. It's just like, holy shit, where did this kid come from?
Yeah, well, if he drops another 100, I'm gonna have to buy him at like 260. So I don't really.
So
I've got a bit of cash floating around, so we'll see what happens.
Well, that's good for you. I know a few people had Taron Thomas. Get off him now. He's injured. He's injured for the next 8 weeks. So see you later. Thanks for your service. Moving over to West Coast. There's not really a lot of Supercoach relevant players. Obviously, they had half the team out almost with COVID. Outside of like Dixon and Hoff, does anyone really excite you or make you think, hey, I want them in my team?
Yeah, nobody. But McGovern, we spoke about him last week.
Yeah,
this guy is doing okay.
Yeah, he looks good.
But the problem is, I think their full team comes back. So don't trade him in.
Nah, I think he's fairly expensive too. I know some people went on Rioli. You'd be happy with the 117, but he's not going to be playing a team with no small defenders. And he won't be kicking 4 goals every week either. So
that's right. Once the big boys come back into the lineup.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Naish could definitely be a pickup. I know a few people had him I think he's a defender or a midfield option.
Mid-forward.
Pardon?
Mid-forward, I think.
Mid-forward, okay. So a few people had him. You'd be happy with a 90. So someone to look at, I guess. Maybe if you weren't.
What did he score last week? 63?
I think so. Something like that. So I mean, if you had 90k or 80k hanging around, you could go Owens to Nation. You'd be happy. But that's probably about it, right?
I think he'll play though. I think he's okay. So it's very hard to get him in though.
I think he was pretty hard done by being let go from Richmond. I think he looked all right, but just couldn't get games in the 22. So they'll just, see you later, see what else you can do. Yeah. Heading over to that team we just spoke about, Richmond and GWS. So GWS had a bit of a shit game. Richmond had a good game. Our boy Jaden Short, picking Short over Ridley to start with definitely seems to be working out so far. I think he's up by about 60 points already. Rioli 111. Do you think it's worth having a look at him at like a 300k, 350k price?
Yes.
Yeah, you reckon? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
I know he burnt a lot of people last year. I wasn't one of them that took the bait, but he just looks really good. And I don't know, is he forward or mid? I don't even know what he is.
I think he's Does he have DPP? We'll figure that out.
He was a forward last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. So maybe he's selectable in the forward line. Yeah, that's probably about it, really. Moving down that list, no one's picking. Pardon?
About Shorty.
Shorty. Well, of course. If you don't have Shorty, you have to get him in. Most people hopefully have started with him, but 136, man, he's going to do that close. Maybe not the same, but he's going to be in their top scorers every week, I reckon. He's just so good off the back line. We saw it last year without Hooley in the team. And now, Hooley's gone forever and he's popping out these numbers, right?
Yeah, so greedy, takes kickouts, does everything.
And Shaq loves greedy. Shaq, I'm going to get you a shirt that says, I love greedy players. It's going to happen. You're going to have to wear it on the show one day.
I love Shorty. So he's one of my favorites. So, yeah.
Yeah. Heading over to GWS now. So I know we've spoken off air about Cumming and Taylor and other players taking Whitfield's score. Do you think that's happening a bit this year?
I just don't like Whitfield's role. Like when I select a defender, I look for a lot of things and Whitfield doesn't tick anything. He didn't even tick anything in the preseason from what I saw. But
but
people picked him on the score, not on what his game looked like. So you have to trade Whitfield. There's no way with Cumming and Iden there. There's just too much ball use.
No, fair enough.
He doesn't get used enough. He doesn't want to run. Like he's just not greedy. And Well, how many disposals do you have? 20 or something?
I think so. Yeah, 23.
It's not enough. It's enough, but his disposal looked off for an elite kicker.
Yeah. I wonder if he's carrying an injury. Definitely looks like it a little bit from some of the footage we saw last week of him holding his groin and things like that during the game. It definitely looks like he's must be carrying an injury or something. Something's happening. Or they're just not passing him the ball. You know, Cameron's trying to change something around and he's just not seeing as much as he normally did. This excuse of, hey, he plays on small fields, so he scores worse. Well, this week he just played on the biggest ground in Australia and only scored a 70. So, you know, what's the reasoning now, right?
Yeah, we weren't buying that excuse last week, but we'll have to make a bigger ground than MCG to fulfill that excuse for him. But
pretty much.
Yeah, Isaac Cumming just kills this pick, and it's proven again this week.
You'd be happy if you took Cumming at the start of the season at like 500k, right? As a pod kind of defender option. You could have gone Cumming over Whitfield for like 10k more and be happy.
Yeah, because he takes more intercept marks and he takes kickouts as well. So, like, there's no way he's not going to be averaging more than Whitfield based on those two reasons.
Do you reckon Cummings' score goes better with Haynes out or worse? Not Haynes, Phil Davis. With Phil Davis out, do you reckon him or Whitfield's score increase or kind of someone else just comes in to fill the spot?
Well, I don't know who's going to play key defender, so or they're going to have to reshuffle with that team. And they got Hopper out as well now.
Mm-hmm.
I think Flynn will get dropped for Bruce this week because I thought he got destroyed in the ruck.
They can't play both? Or just you reckon he's just out straight away?
I think he has to drop him. But that's just my opinion. I think he has to drop him and just change the side a little because I think they're rucking against Wits, So it's going to be a bit of a problem. Wits is a decent bat ruckman, so I wouldn't be surprised if Bruce plays ruck this week.
Yeah, and Bruce as well, if he comes in now being round 3, you could potentially get a cheeky price rise off a couple of players, offload somebody who maybe is only looking to get 300k instead of 200, and bring in Bruce for like a Dixon, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Come round 5 or 6, you could grab him just after the price rise. Obviously, depending on how Bruce looks, if he's going to stay in the side, that kind of thing. But it's an option there. Something extra that's come out of him being away last week.
Yeah, I also think Cogs is a keeper now. If
you reckon?
Hopper is out, I think Cogs will get more CBAs. And that average of whatever it is, 85 or 90, will probably creep up to about 93, 94. So maybe not enough. Keeper, but you could have him for a very long time in your team.
Yeah, I think that was going to be my assumption anyway, to have him for a long time. But definitely like what you're saying. I mean, he got 90, 99. He did kick 2 goals, but he gave away 3 frees and had 5 claimers. So it kind of evens out a little bit that way. More mid-time, he could be back to the guy that, used to pop out 200s, right?
Yeah, I don't see a 200 from Coles.
Not 200?
Probably a bit higher scoring, though.
Yeah.
Maybe and 5-10 points, maybe.
Yeah. And Green comes back in a couple of weeks too. So he could get pushed more into the midfield as well. Something to look out for. That's probably about it from these teams, right? No one else is really kind of looking that way?
No.
All right. Last game for the week. The guy that Shaq almost brought in, but didn't. Andrew Brayshaw. 189, just looks massive. He looks so good. He's everywhere. 40 touches on the weekend. Can't beat it, can you?
No, he's just a machine. He's just a running machine. I don't think there's anyone fitter than him in the league apart from Vic Miller.
No.
He's everywhere. He's literally like a mosquito running around. He's just fly. He's just everywhere. I have to trade him in. He's top 8 this year.
Something I didn't know was his meters gained, 628. So it's the biggest number in the game, or at least for this game. You're right, though. The kid was everywhere.
3 scoring shots. I don't know.
If he wasn't scoring goals, he was setting other people up for scoring goals, which was kind of the crazy thing.
Yeah, his top as well was up. He was at last week. His top was 85. This week was 82.
Yeah,
but he's very higher than what he was last year, which was 67%. I'll give me a Brayshaw with 85%. I'll take it any day of the week.
Oh, of course, man. When he pops out 190s, why not, right?
I actually said last week that he could match 700k mid.
Yep.
At his price, and I think he might.
He might become a 700k mid.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit scary for non-owners. You need him to drop a stinker week. You might even be worried about getting him in at all.
Yeah.
Moving down the list a little bit, Luke Ryan. So 156, definitely a jump back from his 60 odd I think he got last week. So owners would be happy with that, you think?
Yeah, the pick I didn't pick. I got forced into a crisp move.
Yeah,
he looked okay, but the thing with Ryan is they have to get smashed for him to score well.
Yeah,
he's not a greedy defender type that I like. That would just run 100 meters just to get a handball receive or a kick or something.
Yeah,
so
not like a haul.
Yeah, so his scoring is based on Freo getting killed for the next 10 weeks, and they got a soft run, so
not going to happen.
Not going to happen. So someone to consider later on. Yeah, definitely on the watch list, though.
Hayden Young did pretty well. So 123, can't complain. He's not anyone I've really looked at, but I don't think he gets 30 possessions every week, so we don't need to worry. Someone
takes kickouts, though.
He does take kickouts, does he?
Okay.
That's Shaq's criteria for defenders. So takes kickouts. Definitely put him on the watch list. Have a look at that. If you don't have him now, I think there's other options you could go for. I think he's over 300k Hayden Young, so he's not as cheap as he was last year. Will Brodie Shaq, he's someone who I'm very, very interested in. Can you try and convince someone not to bring him in this week at 220k, or is he, if you've got the space, if you've got the money, do it type of player?
No, you have to get him in because there's no fight. There's no fight for another 6 weeks. So how do you not get him in? I don't understand.
Yeah, definitely. That's the way that I feel about him as well. And even if he jumps his time on ground up to a 70 instead of being 60%, the kid's everywhere. I watched that game and I was surprised. I didn't realize how in the contest the player is, right?
Yeah. He's he's a good contested player, man. The only thing is he can't kick, but he handballs okay. He gets the ball to Brayshaw and whoever. He gets the ball out. Sorry?
Gold Coast gave him away for basically nothing. So,
but they have a few players like him, so I understand why they traded him. To be honest, they got Rao, does the same job.
Fair enough.
And had Greenwood too as well last year, I think.
Yeah, and Tuke Miller, I guess, plays a similar type role, maybe a bit different.
Bit on the outside.
I know a few people are jumping on Lloyd Meek. I think it's just a wait and see to see how long Darcy's out for. I think Meek's about 270k, maybe. But if he's going to play solo ruck at Freo, it could be an option. I think it's just a wait and see and, save your cash for other people, right?
Depends how far
Bruce is away.
No, how far Darcy's out.
Yeah, Darcy's out, yeah.
If Darcy's out for 4 weeks, then I actually like the Meek route over the Hayes route. So, I don't mind Meek if we have a definite guideline to Darcy being out for at least 4 weeks. So. 3 to 4 weeks for me.
Yeah, I heard some reports that potentially he's out he's potentially back this week. So
so that's not a move then.
No, that's not really a move. And Heath Chapman, the guy that I've heard people call him Heath Chapman. So, when he doesn't touch the ball on the goal line 2 seconds before the game's finished, you're expecting a 56, right?
Yeah, well, we talked about he was meant to score like 53 last week.
Yeah. And that's what he did again. So he looks
I
all
think,
right.
No, he doesn't look all right
I
for
mean,
his price.
as a player for Freo,
Yeah,
he's
actual
an
player,
okay
yeah.
player. But for Supercoach, no, don't go near him.
Not Supercoach. Doesn't have a bit of more friendly role. I feel like he's more positioned to do a bit more dirty work in that defense. So I don't like the Chapman pick. Go straight to Bowie, in my opinion.
If you had Chapman this week and a spare trade, would you trade Chapman to Bowie?
You'd have to get Bowie in. Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't get Bowie in.
Oh, fair enough.
Like, you'll trade. I'm a bit like a lot of people are holding out on trades. I don't think you can, like right now in this part of the season. There's too much money to be made in players.
Okay.
And like some people, I have the theory of burning more now and then waiting a bit
later on
down the track.
Yep.
So we'll see how it works out.
Yeah. So looking down the St Kilda list now, I don't think Josh Battle's really Supercoach relevant, but someone who I had in my latest video named as a bit of a pod is Jack Sinclair. I think he scored a 107 last week and now 114. I reckon he's priced around 460. Is he someone who you'd consider in your back line? Maybe not right now, but in a few weeks when you start to look to upgrade?
Yeah, I spoke about him last week. I'm pretty sure we covered the Saints Collingwood game.
Yeah.
And he was the only St Kilda player I actually liked apart from Hayes. He played a lot of mid-time this week. Got a lot of CBAs. What's his contested possessions? 13 or 11?
Contested possessions 11, and then 6 clearances.
6 clearances, which means he's getting more mid-time, and he actually looks pretty good in the midfield, to be honest. I actually like him more in the midfield than in defence.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely.
It's a hard pick to pick. Okay, maybe just a wait and see with that one, but
you don't have to grab him now because he's not. You don't have the space to upgrade. So
exactly.
Yeah. Jack Steele 111, good for the owners who kept him. I don't have him, so I'm happy. Yeah, he's interesting. I think a lot of people jumped off him, and maybe he's showing what he can do, but we'll just wait and see. I don't think there's anyone really else relevant apart from Jack Hayes. So he had a fairly average game, I think. Pardon?
We do have a very relevant player.
Well, let's talk about Hayes, and then you can tell me about the relevant player. So I think Hayes had a fairly average game. For a guy that got 4 free kicks, only scoring 68 isn't great. He did play some ruck, but yeah, I think maybe they just got smashed in the rucks. Meek just smashed him. I can definitely tell who you're going to be talking about now. But I'm worried about him maybe getting dropped in a couple of weeks. What do you reckon, Shaq?
The Wangan and Millera.
Maybe. I think Ryder could come back and Hayes would lose his ruck time. Maybe he goes into the forward line.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about Hayes. I was talking about Wangan and Millera.
Ah, okay.
The rookie. Look, Hayes is... can they play 3 talls? That's the question. I don't think they can.
Well, it would be 4 because they'd have Max King as well. So they'd have Max King plus Hayes plus Marshall plus Ryder. I don't think they can do it.
Unless they play Hayes on a wing or like on ball, like which sounds weird, but...
He's mobile enough to do it, but wait and see, I guess, hey?
I'm not sure yet.
I know a few people went Darcy to Marshall last week, and that obviously hurt. 67 is not what you want. I think he was lucky to get that score. I think he was something like 40 coming into the 4th quarter. So 67, it's not great, hey? Not from a ruckman who you want to keep for the whole year. Yeah. No. Now we can talk about Wangareen Millera. Shaq, give us your info. What do you reckon?
So I watched this kid very close on the weekend.
Yep.
I watched him till about halftime. He was very hesitant. It's his first game playing, but he wanted to pass the ball off. He wasn't taking initiative of the game. But after halftime, he actually looked like he belonged in the game because it was a really close game. It wasn't like a 20, 30 point like bashing, It was a really close game, this match. And he took a few contested marks when the game was on the line. It was like 10 point game, man. I feel like he got better between the game. I can't see his scores by quarter or whatever it is, but I feel like after half time, he was a better player by like twice of what he was in the first half. Like, I think he was a bit nervy in the first half not to make an error and stuff. So I think he'll get better and better and better, and someone I will be
looking at
eventually trading in, maybe.
Yeah. Does his like 150, 160K price scare you a little bit, or you just wait and see for a couple of weeks?
I just think he plays. Like, I don't see how they will drop him. He looked okay for a rookie, and they don't have many good really young good players. So apart from him and Hayes, they need a blood players. So
could play for a while then, you reckon?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we want from rookies, hey?
Yeah, I actually like a good rookie in an okay team that I think is going to have a chance, and I think he presents that, a rookie that will play for a while. So
put him on your watch list, guys. There you go. So we've done the teams this week. What I was thinking we could do next is actually have a look at the Supercoach team of the week and just kind of go over what our thoughts were of that team. So let's do that right now. It's hiding behind here. So over here on the right-hand side, can you see it, Shaq? Yep. So backline first. That's a pretty tough backline, man.
Yeah, it's strong.
Yeah, it's very strong. Four players over 500K plus Hewitt, so they're not paying for an extra mid-pricer. And Paddy McCartan, of course. No Hinge. No Hinge. So that's a player who they could be looking to bring in if they had enough cash. But you'd be pretty happy with that backline if you started that, right?
Yeah, no Hinge and no, what's the other guy they don't have? He's just Hinge, yeah?
I think it's just Hinge. Like Gibcus, some people have, but he's not really relevant as much.
Yeah, the backline's fine, I guess. I don't mind it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just the rookie needs to change, probably.
One thing I'm looking at in his midline at the moment, his midfield, is that he doesn't actually have any guys over 600K. Is that pretty surprising for you, or is that kind of what you'd be thinking for someone doing this well?
I only got one, and that's Tuke Miller, but I understand why he's done it. He sees no value in it, so.
Yeah, it's a bit
his rookies. He's got a few dead rookies though. Ned Long and Owens.
Owens. Yeah,
trouble.
I wonder if he had a
problem for him as well.
I wonder if he had a bit of trouble trying to get enough cash, to actually get a Hinge. So he got stuck on an Owens instead. Be interesting to see.
It must be the case because it must be the case, or else why would you go to dead rookies?
Yeah, definitely. Brayshaw was a good pickup, as we've spoken about. Kelly's a bit of a shifty pick. I don't know if he's going to score as well, but I think a fit Kelly is someone to look at. Yep. Neil obviously is good. Cripps, the guy that you picked up on, and then Rowell as well. So he must have had a really good week last week because a lot of these guys did quite well. Horn, Francis, Dacos, and then Stevens, loophole. So can't complain about that. Gone in English, so he hasn't gone Grundy. He's gone the cheaper option. I wonder if he maybe started a Gorn and Darcy and then downgraded to an English. So that
probably most likely.
That could have happened. And then Bruce on the bench as well. That's someone a bit interesting that we haven't really seen much of, isn't it? To start with.
He's got no Hayes so as well.
Yeah.
I've seen. He's gonna miss out on a lot of cash. This isn't a team I'd be worrying about, to be honest.
And then Trelaw, so no Dunkley, Butters obviously, and then cheapos or cheap mid prices there as well. So good for this week. Hope he's got Supercoach Gold because you get an extra $1,000, right?
Yeah, take the weekly.
Take the weekly. You'd be happy with it.
Of course.
All right. So next up, we were just going to show everyone obviously one of the features in Supercoach Gold is being able to look at break-evens. Week 3 is really important because of break-evens. So I just wanted to show everyone quickly before we head on our last segment for today about how to actually look at it yourself and not worry about paying the extra $20, if you don't want to, if that's something you're looking at. So we're just on FootyWire here, footywire.com. On the left-hand side, there's a tab that calls Supercoach. So they've got a few different things that they sort by over here. And we're just going to go to Supercoach Breakevens. And this is actually going to give us all the break-evens. Supercoach, the app and the website update maybe on the Sunday night, if it's a Sunday night game, but this will update on the Monday, so it's fine. We've got the price, how many games, but also their break-even numbers. So as you can see here, Tom Mitchell's got the highest break-even, so he's looking like he's going to drop a lot of money. And one good thing about the website here is that it also shows the likelihood of how likely, given his previous scoring, players' previous scoring, how likely they are to actually match that break even. So this is the most expensive players. Let's just kind of go through this list a little bit about guys maybe that you would hold, Shaq, or guys that you would get rid of now if you had the choice. So if you had Tom Mitchell, would you hold or get rid of him before his price dropped?
Probably trade.
Yep. Moving down the list, we've spoken about Gawn. What about Steele? What do you reckon? If he keeps up his average now, looking at it, he might end up being about 530K. Is that someone who you'd get rid of, or you thought maybe he'd be a keeper for the year, so just keep him?
I'm not sure on this one. I don't know. Enough. It could be flip of the coin on that.
It's a bit tricky, this guy. Moving down the list, so Nat Newey, I don't think many people have him. Who else? So Bontempelli, he's an interesting one. I think you keep the Bont. He's shown that even with a slow start now, round 1, he had that injury with his ankle, so he wasn't moving as well. Similar to round 2, I think he carried it in. His role's a little bit iffy at the moment, but he's shown that, hey, he's been a top 8 midfielder for however many years. So you just got to keep him in. Similar to Walsh, you haven't started him, but he's got that as well. Moving down the list, maybe swap a Parish to a Brayshaw because, we've spoken about it before. But also Lockie Whitfield's probably the biggest one on here that we'll touch on last. So he's looking to drop a lot of cash. He's only got a 71 average and his break even of 151. So potentially he could actually drop down to, let's say, 440, 420 price. If you have the chance now to actually upgrade him or downgrade him to someone you want, I would be doing that instead of holding him. What do you reckon, Shaq?
Yeah, you gotta trade him, sure.
Yeah. He's just going to bleed too much cash, hey?
Yeah, it's too much. He could be a premium that subs and makes you one premium less. And everyone's got one over you, so yeah, you have to get rid of him.
And the hard thing is as well is that if you do decide to hold and then trade him out 3 or 4 weeks later, you could be spending a rookie upgrade plus Whitfield to get a guy that you could have had, 4 weeks ago at his starting price. So It's really tough. Yeah. One thing you can do on the FootyWire app is also click break-evens, and it actually shows you the guys with the lowest break-even as well. So the guys who are going to make the most money. Obviously, players jump price or they change prices after their 3rd game. So Nick Martin got to wait 2 more, but most people have Hayes, most people have Cherry. Same with Rochelle. We spoke about Ginnivan in the Hawks turn. Maybe get him in if you have the cash. Paddy McCartan as well, Stevens, and then Bowie. So this is why most people are trading him in. Negative 54 break even before his game this week. So it could even jump even higher. He's touted right now to potentially make up to 400K, which is what you want. Same with Horn Francis, Brody as well, Dacos, and a few of the other players here. Even a Paddy Cripps, Shaq. This is the reason why people are jumping on Paddy Cripps, right? Is that he is looking like if you don't get him now, he's going to be hard to get in later on. Is that fair?
Yep.
Yeah. And same with Rowell as well. So most people have Cornelio. Caldwell is a good one if you don't have him. And then Lockie Neal. Who doesn't have Lockie Neal? Cool. So last session for today, Shaq. Thanks for holding on, mate. I'm just going to pop up the AFL website and we're going to make some predictions for our guys that we're looking at VC or some options that you could do VC and captain option this week. What do you reckon? Cool. All right. So who's playing first? So let's kind of say most of the time, if you've got a West Coast or a St Kilda guy, you could do it the whole week. So you could basically say until Sunday lunchtime, you could not use your VC option. But that's a bit unrealistic, isn't it?
Very unrealistic, but yeah.
So how about we say we're going to use our VC in the first 4 weeks. So first 4 games. These are the teams that we could go. So who's some VC options you reckon maybe for Bulldogs Sydney that you could look at? Like we've got McRae. If you had Mills, maybe you could go Mills as well. What do you reckon? Or potentially a Heaney. How do you reckon Heaney will go against the Dogs this week?
Yeah, I don't know. Like
He's got two scores of 140.
Too many scores he could drop. So
yeah, 2 scores of 140 is not too bad.
I don't even like McRae this week. So
okay, no, that's fair.
So I don't know who you go. You could go McRae, but like Melbourne versus Essendon, that just
definitely. So maybe McRae, Heaney, and Mills if you've got them, or a Parker potentially for this game here, the first game.
Dunkley even.
Dunkley maybe. You don't want to be suckered into Dunkley like me though, because that was not fun. So let's look at Friday's game. So Melbourne versus Essendon. You're expecting Essendon to get smashed, right? That's kind of the prediction, the feeling that you've got at the moment.
Yeah, I think they're going to get slaughtered.
So potentially like an Oliver or a Petrarca as your VC option in this game.
Yeah, Petrarca's my VC this week.
Yeah, cool. All right. You probably wouldn't pick Parrish though, would you? If you had Parrish with Essendon, even with Merritt out, you probably wouldn't pick him. He's going to get focused too much, right?
Yeah, I think they'll put something on him.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Anyone from the Adelaide Port game who you'd pick as VC?
No, probably Butters, maybe.
Maybe like a Boak if you had him. I don't know his ownership, but
Boak, probably. Keys, if you have him.
Yeah, Keys as well.
Laird back, I'm not sure. So
there's not really anyone Adelaide relevant who you would actually pick for captain or vice captain.
No.
I mean, you're not going to go Hinge, right? So this is the big one. So I'm straight off the bat, you got to pick Took. If you've got him, Took VC. Took. I think he's going to demolish them. De Boer's going to be in, I think. Green's going to be in, maybe. But it's hard to stop him, right?
Very hard.
Yeah. Anyone from the Giants who you potentially look at as a VC option? Maybe if you had a Kelly or somebody? No?
Probably Green. Tom Green. He plays.
Yeah, fair enough. So now, first 4 games are done. We're going to go and hit our captain options this week. So anyone from Geelong or Collingwood, let's say our VC didn't work out, would you pick anyone from this game as your captain or vice captain this week?
Dangerfield, but I think no one's got him. So
yeah. I mean, you probably wouldn't pick Crisp, right?
No.
He's like Collingwood's best player. No.
No chance.
That's good. And North Lions.
Neil.
There's one player, Lockie Neal. I think he's going to go big. Hopefully not, because that's my team. But I feel
potential tag though.
Potential tag. That's very true. That's very true.
They might limit him to less than 35 disposal.
Yeah, that's very true. What do you reckon is your kind of threshold for captain, vice captain? Like a 130, 135 plus is a set and forget for the captain score?
Yeah, but with these 2 weeks, taking a 130 is like just not good
Not
enough.
when Neil's getting 190 and Brayshaw's
when
getting
players are going like 150 or 160, it's like
definitely.
Yeah, for me, I think this year maybe 130. I think I take 135. So
fair enough. So Hawks Carlton. So I'm going to let you say who you think from Carlton is going to be your captain. If your vice captain doesn't work out, of course. Who are you picking from Carlton?
Cripps is my captain.
Cripps is your captain. Cool. Yeah. I don't think there's anyone else really who you could pick. I don't think you'd pick Hewitt. I don't think you'd pick Doherty. Obviously, I don't think you're going to pick Sicily or anyone like that. So, yeah, I think Cripps is probably the best option. In my opinion, I don't think there's anyone really relevant from Richmond St Kilda to pick as a captain option. And then West Coast Eagles game. So West Coast.
Brayshaw. Yeah, we have Brayshaw too, who could be my captain as well.
He's definitely, I think, probably going to be, if you had him in this game, I'm not sure how many Eagles players are due back, but I don't think it matters. Brayshaw at home does really well, as you saw from the 188, and he's just going to dominate, right?
Yeah, I like Brayshaw. It'll be tough, depending what track gets. So I've got a few captain options, but hopefully I don't fuck it up.
Hey, no worries, mate. So,
just good luck with your teams this week.
Yep.
And just smash that like button. That's all.
All right. Catch you guys. Have a good weekend. Bye.